Welcome back to Jenny's World. As you'd expect, I've been on an exciting new adventure, travelling far and wide. As usual, I'm on the lookout for fun or unusual facts laced with just a hint of irony. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and ring that notification bell to keep coming back. Today, you will see a dapper gent, someone pursued by a killer balloon, a beautiful pocket of madness, an Italianite coastal village, and a stone boat, all within a small town in North Wales. Today's place is definitely out of the ordinary and has a good shot at ticking all our fact boxes. Now, as you know, there's lots of information and stuff online, but you know me, I like to find out more and experience places for myself. Get off the bus, not just pass through, so to speak. Let me know what's on your mind in the comments below, or follow the links online. You know the drill. Look at me, making new friends, visiting the coastal town of Portmeirion, a tiny tourist village in North Wales. Building here started over 100 years ago. Apparently, it's Baroque in style. Set within 70 acres of forested subtropical woodland named as Gwilt, there are 20 miles of paths, which, let me tell you, are definitely not on the flat. Coastal beach areas and lots of weird and wonderful follies. Lying on the estuary of the River Dwyred, Penrhyn Dwyraeth, can we pretend I said that in a very eloquent, non-awkward way, because I'm not sure I can say it again, is 2 miles from Porthmadog and 1 mile from Minford railway station. I do honestly think I have a thing for trains. Many of the buildings and gardens have been Grade 2 listed since 1971, which is unusual as it was in Bertram's lifetime. Overlooking the main piazza is Telford's Tower, a whimsical tribute and prominent accommodation built between 1957 and 58 to mark the bicentenary of the eminent civil engineer Thomas Telford. Not a fool, Bertram's fantasy was rather impressively built upon the rocks and still stands steadfast 100 years after work began. Here and there, it's almost impossible to see where buildings begin, as some seem to grow out of the rocks. Some erections were created around the remains of earlier structures, such as the town hall, which still has original stone windows and 17th century panelling. Others were new, or brought from elsewhere, like the facade of the ruined bathhouse of Arnos Court in Bristol. Just like a jigsaw, each stone was numbered, taken down and rebuilt here. Imagine that, when you don't have a picture on the box. Making a home for fallen buildings was very forward-thinking, upcycling on a grand scale. The main building of the hotel and cottages White Horses, Mermaid and Salutation had been a private estate developed in the 1850s on the site of a late 18th century foundry and boatyard. William Ellis changed the name from Aber Eyre, meaning ice estuary, to Portmeirion. Port, from its place on the coast, Meirion, from the county of Merioneth. Beyond the main village, over 200 forgotten, overgrown statues and structures are hidden in the nearby woods. On the quayside, William Ellis built a stone boat, the Amis Reunis, or Friends Reunited, incorporating sections of the main masts from his original ketch. Such a great place to take pictures, and the kids love it. On a beautiful spring day like today, it's impossible to ignore the panoramic views of Snowdonia and Innis Gifton, a 17-acre private tidal island in the Dwyred estuary. 20 years after his death, the ashes of William Ellis were launched over the estuary at a New Year's Eve firework display so that his wish to be forever part of the village could be fulfilled. Portmeirion is a magnet for tourists, and it's not hard to see why. The brightly coloured buildings are vibrant and cheerful. Everywhere you look, there is something different. Towers, turrets, archways, statues, and a multitude of nooks and crannies, just the right size for me. Fun, interactive photo opportunities to be had here on the giant chess set or in the pavilion at the centre. In fact, everywhere. Fashioned to deliberately disorient visitors, creating dreamlike, almost claustrophobic experiences, such as Unicorn, which was completed in 1964, and deliberately constructed on a smaller scale, to give the impression of a grand stately home from a distance. Some buildings feature fake, painted-on windows, and others have lots of places I'm sure only spiders get to see. Clearly, Clough Ellis took the word eccentric and ran miles with it. There are lots of what are known in Cornwall as hunky-punks. No, I didn't know what they were either. Apparently, they're grotesque stone carvings that serve no useful purpose. Woohoo! Look at me, learning new things. Now, normally, in Wales, if you can't see the mountain, it's raining. If you can see the mountain, it's going to rain. But not today. Looking at the blue sky and the view, you could be forgiven for thinking you are on some Italian shoreline. It's a gloriously mild and sunny spring day. Makes me sorry for the things I said about the weather last week. Time for a Jennyism. Well, sort of. Portmeirion features plaques, but they're not part of the English Heritage Blue Plaque scheme. This one is on a yellow plinth bearing a lion statue. Jennyism overload here. A popular location for TV shows is an understatement by far. Sort of, if it should look like Italy, then shoot it in Portmeirion. Older viewers will remember it as the setting for the 1960s cult show The Prisoner, where residents were trapped in a pastel, surreal police state, pursued by a killer balloon called Rover or Guardian. The lead character's home is still used as the prisoner-themed souvenir shop and is virtually unchanged after more than 50 years. The village still holds annual prisoner conventions. Lots of TV series and films shot exterior scenes here, including 1960s Danger Man episode View from the Villa. I'm certain that eagle-eyed Whovians, that's Doctor Who fans, might remember the 1976 episode The Mask of Mandragora, set in Renaissance Italy. BBC documentary The Celts, The Laughing Prisoner, with Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie, and the last episode of Citizen Smith were all filmed here, along with preschool CBeebies series Gigglebiz and its spin-off series Captain Adorable. A popular location for music videos and concerts, 1980s Scottish band Altered Images, Susie and the Banshees and XTC, wearing costumes from The Prisoner, and the 90s band Supergrass, all filmed here. The inaugural Festival No. 6 took place in September 2012 and featured headline acts Spiritualized, Primal Scream and New Order. For any classic car fans, TV show Wheeler Dealers brought a Caterham 7 here to pay homage to the Lotus 7 used in The Prisoner. Iron Maiden recorded a song, The Prisoner, on their album The Number of the Beast, with Bruce Dickinson wandering through the village describing how Patrick McGoohan gave permission to use dialogue from the show in their documentary. Even during my visit today, a new version of 70s band The Skids called Armory Show was shooting a promotional video for new material. The village has long been an inspiration for writers and television producers, but most notably, I think, is Noel Coward, who wrote Blithe Spirit whilst staying in Fountain 2 Suite in 1941. George Bernard Shaw and H.G. Wells were early visitors. Weirdly, it does feel like I used a time machine to go back in time. And in 1956, the architect Frank Lloyd Wright came and was given a guided tour by Clough. I would have loved to have overheard their discussion of early curly style and organic architecture. Other famous guests included Gregory Peck and Ingrid Bergman, who with many of the cast and crew stayed here while filming the 1958 movie The Inn of the Sixth Happiness. The gold Buddha statue from the film set is now in front of the dome. Perhaps in a nod to the name of Bertram's stone boat, Friends Reunited, during the closing scenes of Cold Feet, Adam scatters Rachel's ashes into the sea on the village shore, chosen for the scenes because the characters visited in the series. The village has had many famous visitors. Brian Epstein came frequently, along with Paul McCartney and George Harrison, who spent his 50th birthday here in 1993, filming interviews for the Beatles anthology documentary. Musician Jules Holland visited whilst filming for the TV music show The Tube, and was so impressed some of his home is inspired by Portmeirion. I took a walk through the woodland, passing a mock temple, a hillside gazebo designed by Susan Williams Ellis to mark the centenary of her father's birth, stopping to take in the view of 70 acres of forest. There are plenty of tracks to follow here and along the coast, In the woods, there are ghost garden, dog cemetery, Japanese garden, temples, and many botanical tree and plant species from different parts of the world, brought here because of its microclimate. Architecture critic Lewis Mumford called the village a happy relief from the rigid irrationalities and the calculated follies of the modern world. I think his words still ring true today, more than 60 years later. The largest and most imposing single building standing on the edge of the Portmeirion estate is Castle Dewdrythe, which was opened after refurbishment as an hotel and restaurant 23 years after the death of Bertram Clough Williams-Ellis, proof that his legacy lives on. Portmeirion itself has always been run as a hotel, utilising buildings as hotel rooms or self-catering cottages, together with shops, a cafe, tea room and restaurant. I came on a Saturday in March, with lots of people walking in and around the structures, through the woods and along the coast, taking in the views and enjoying a few minutes of rest, relaxation, and doing a bit of embroidery in the hotel. Definitely a popular place to visit, even this early in the year. It would be extremely busy in summer, I'm sure, so if you're looking to have a meal, it's well worth booking ahead in the restaurants. This is one place I know I will revisit many times, and I hope you do too, as there is so much to experience. So there you have it. Did you enjoy my sneak peek at Portmeirion? Be sure to follow me and keep coming back to see what's happening next in Jenny's world. Bye for now.